And we had a wonderful chat with Joe, and now we're going to have a fantastic interview with Virginia Timmons, Soundboard Advisors. Yes. That name, it just brings up all kinds of thoughts and images. But can you tell me, what does Soundboard Advisors do?
Sure. I work with either individuals or organizations towards some type of improved result to help them achieve greater success. And I do that through business coaching and consulting. So as an example, an organization may be looking for something like, how do I improve my loyal customer base? How do I get to a better strategic vision and action plan to implement it? Leadership development skills, team dynamics. Maybe they're looking to have an improved sales force. So we work across a number of different areas. When we do one-on-one coaching with business leaders and individuals, they could be looking at any one of those things. Oftentimes they're also just looking for more personal leadership and personal development, and looking to figure out, how do I free up my time a little bit to do some of the things I enjoy doing, and from my business standpoint to kind of get out of the weeds and think more strategically about it.
And can you tell us a little bit more about how you'd help someone achieve those results?
Yep. So what we do is we implement a holistic, disciplined approach with the end result in mind. And we use a developmental approach, so it's an inside-out developmental approach. It's different from like a traditional training approach where you may have a curriculum and everybody who signs up gets the same class. So we start with the result in mind, and then we say, okay, what do we need to do in order to get to that end result? We have a number of different tailorable processes and modules that we use. All of them have 3 elements in common. That's goals, skills and knowledge, and attitude. So when we work toward those end results or objectives, we're looking at, for example, with goals, how do you define like the 4 or 5 major things that you need to work on? And then how do you pare that down into the very specific goals and action plans that you need to implement to get there? We look at skills and knowledge in 2 different categories. One is the skills and knowledge that you do have, and how can we help you tap into your potential to use that in a more impactful way. And then the second piece is the skills and knowledge that we're helping you to develop, whether that's leadership development, strategy, sales, some of the other things I mentioned. And then the third thing I mentioned was attitude. And so we look at that as a multiplier on skills and knowledge. So when somebody comes to work or approaches their day with a mindset of how can I be more successful, we find that the results are much different than if that same person is always thinking about the worst that can happen. And so our approach towards results always incorporates goals, skills and knowledge, and attitudes into a tailored process for the individual client.
So everyone you work with gets their own very specific plan that you work out and draw out with them.
Right. Most of our processes will have, we go through developmental modules that can be common across different areas, and every participant will have their own action plan and action workbook that's very tailored to that individual.
That's great, and that's so valuable for the people that work with you.
Right.
It is. It's fabulous. Can you give any examples of the results that were achieved through this method?
Sure. So the processes that we use have been used with over 500 different types of organizations in the country. They've been used with for-profit companies, not-for-profit organizations, and also with government organizations. A couple of specific examples. There was a startup heating and air conditioning company, and the owners had been at it a couple years and needed to get out of the red. They used our leadership development and strategic planning process to plan where they needed to be in the business, and they wound up increasing their revenues by 200%.
That's huge.
Yeah, they boosted their profitability by 400%, and they got both owners on the payroll.
That's amazing.
That's huge.
And then, like one other example, there was a construction company that took a deep dive into the strategic planning process, and they wanted a 2-year action plan. So they got that put together and started executing it. In 18 months in, they were able to double their revenues.
Oh my gosh.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So the other thing I'll just mention is our leadership process has also been tailored for youth, typically in the middle school to high school age. And there's data, it's been used in about 30 different states, both like in the school systems or for at-risk youth in the court systems. And there's data that shows that the kids that have been through the program, when they come out the other side, feel better equipped to deal with the next phase of their life after high school, or better equipped to enter the workforce. In the case of the court systems, they've done recidivism studies and found that the youth that have been through the program drastically reduce or knock to zero the number of times they wind up back in the system, because they're better equipped to deal with the situations that put them there in the first place.
What a great investment.
Yeah.
And it's so much affordable, less expensive, by addressing these issues when they're young.
Exactly. Yeah.
Can you tell us how you got involved in this line of work and about your background?
Sure. My education is actually in engineering. I have a bachelor's and a master's degree, and I worked in systems engineering for the first few years of my career, but then I spent most of my career in business development and leading different strategic initiatives, or leading business development organizations. I had also spent a few years in profit and loss running programs. And after about 28 years of corporate experience, I decided to resign and start my own practice. When I did that, I also became an affiliate and a partner of a company called RAC, that's Resource Associates Corporation. They've been around for about 30 years, and they bring 30 years of experience in these proven methodologies that I've talked about and the processes that we apply. So there's like 500 affiliates like me across the country. And what I wanted to do was bring my own experience coupled with the proven track record that RAC and their affiliate network has that I can bring to the table to help my clients be more successful.
Well, you've got so much experience on several levels that you really can address almost any issue that big or small corporation, business, mom and pop, no matter where they are, you can address those issues.
Right. And one of the things that I really liked about the partnership with RAC is that, in my experience, companies are in business because they have customers, and ideally they have loyal customers, right? And there's kind of 4 things that play into creating and sustaining that loyal customer base. There's strategy, and there's people. Do you have the right people with the right skills and the right seats of the bus? And processes and operating systems is the third. And when those 3 are in sync, you're able to actually implement the strategy and propel it forward. And then the 4th thing is leadership. And do you have the right leadership skills to really drive it and pull everything together? And so you're right, Karen, that whole methodology and what we look at is really agnostic to the size of the business or the type of business that it is.
It is amazing. Emma and I were talking earlier, and we were just wondering, where does the name Soundboard Advisors come from?
So I like piano music, and I got thinking about the developmental processes that we use that are really inside out. And it's through that inside out development that people are able to get those transformational results and get them quickly and have them be sustainable. And when I thought about a piano and the piano soundboard, the soundboard is on the inside of the instrument, right? And that's where all the vibrations come together to make the music that you hear on the outside. So that whole transformational analogy was something that I really believe in and I stand behind, and it's just a symbol of what my company does.
I love that. I think that's such a fun name, and the story behind it is so interesting, and it's personal to you and means something to you. So I think that's so nice.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.
I think everybody can relate to music in one way or another and appreciate exactly where you're coming from.
Yeah.
And it does apply to business also. It's getting a team together, having everybody have their own tune,
Right.
and then having them come together to make a beautiful melody,
Sure.
which is really
does.
awesome.
Yeah.
Can you tell people how to get in touch with you, your website, and all that information? We have about 2 minutes left, so you've got plenty of time.
Okay. So my phone number is 978-618-3807. My email address is virginia@soundboardadvisors.com. It's all one word. And my website is www.soundboardadvisors.com. So if there's a challenge that you're having or something that you'd like to discuss, I don't charge for any type of initial consultation. I'll do that free.
That's important to know.
It is,
And we also
definitely.
have diagnostic tools and assessments that we can use to help kind of pinpoint either root causes or what would be the most appropriate process to apply.
A lot of times, business owners, they know it's broke,
Right.
but they don't know why or where it's broke, or you've got the domino effect. This is actually the main root cause, but everything else has fallen down because of it. But that's something that you specialize in.
So we have an assessment that can be used at the organizational level across multiple functions or multiple layers of management to diagnostically look at what's broken. And then we have assessments that can be used at the personal level to look at individual preferences for communicating, for what motivates people, and for decision making. And that provides a lot of personal insight for folks. And then when you have a team of people and everybody's looking at it, you can better understand how to work with each other in a more effective way. So, yeah.
Interesting.
It
Love
is.
things like
It
that.
is. I think we could talk for hours on that.
Probably.
Have some wine?
I know.
Great. Talk for hours, right?
Why don't we plan this out better? We could have had a little table, some wine glasses on it. Next time.
But it gives a viewing audience, they can go have some wonderful wine or spirits. Well, after they sit down and talk with you. We really don't want them.
Hopefully
have
they
them
don't
talk
need
to
it
you
after
first.
that.
Thank you
Thank you
so
very much. I
much for
appreciate
being a part of Chamber Chat TV. And I know everyone's there is very excited to be able to meet both of you.
Thank you. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.